Ishak and I'm the Senior Director of William Roberts Lawyers. I'm here today to speak about my career path and successes. Whilst I will eventually get to the topic, I want to address you on two important matters. First, I'm here to tell you that once you have undertaken the study of law, your personalities will change. Make no mistake. You'll become more aggressive, more hostile, more precise and more impatient. I promise you. The reason being is simple. It's the result of legal training. Law school will teach you that words are precious, to use them wisely and with pinpoint accuracy. One day you'll find yourself in a casual conversation and you will observe those around you being imprecise with the use of their words. Given that this site is run by the Baptist Church, it is apt that I tell you to forgive your friends, for though they do not know what they say. Resist the temptation to cross-examine them at the barbecue. The second matter I want to address you on is that you cannot really understand the law only by reading books, listening to lectures, and memorising rules. You will only understand the law when you make it your own. By restating it, arguing about it, applying it to new situations. Remember, it's the process of law that counts. For many of us, the study of law is an intellectual experience of a lifetime. You will have the privilege of appearing in state and federal courts, to wrestle with counsel and the bench. What an opportunity. But let me make it clear, the study of law is hard. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And so focus and dedication is necessary to succeed, both at law school and in the profession. To add to the burden of study, I'm going to suggest that halfway through your law degree, that you go out there and get a legal job. In my first 6 months at UWS, I applied and was granted a job at a local law firm. I balanced my study with full-time legal work. This meant that I attended all lectures without needing to take any notes. I simply did my readings and ensured my complete attention was given at lectures, seminars and tutorials. And Stephen will correct me, but I'm pretty sure I've got a high GPA with about a distinction average from university.
That's about right.
And that's going through without taking any notes whatsoever. The reason for that, I'm not a brain. I simply work very hard. The reason for that is because I was working and studying at the same time. That's all there is to it. But I wasn't working and I'm not putting this down, but I wasn't working as a waiter. I worked at Target since I was 15 to put me through law school, university and high school. But in my first 6 months at university, I went out there and got a legal job. What I was learning at work, I could easily apply at university and vice versa. So I wouldn't encourage it in your first year, but by second year you should go out there and try and get a job. Now I've got here to talk about Robert Ishak. I guess for me, I knew from high school what area of law I wanted to practice, and that was commercial litigation. Why commercial litigation? I really wanted to do crime. Notwithstanding what other lawyers might tell you, crime doesn't pay. Not for the lawyers anyway. Commercial litigation does. Commercial litigation, I picked that area of law because I didn't want to sit behind a desk and be a conveyancer or undertake business transactions. Some might enjoy that, and in fact I've got a lot of friends that do. But what I wanted to do was see the insides of a courtroom. And so what better way to see the insides of a courtroom than through commercial disputes, commercial litigation. So my firm, which only does commercial litigation, practices in about 6 areas of law. One is insurance litigation, second is bankruptcy and insolvency litigation, third building and construction litigation, fourth general commercial litigation, fifth class actions, and one I've forgotten. But you'll see within the sphere of all of that, when I've said, for example, building and construction law has really two sides to it. You've got the front end, which is your transactional, your drafting of contracts. So someone will go and see a lawyer to draft the contract, to explain the contract, to have the contract executed. That's not me or my firm. My firm comes into place when the shit hits the fan. That is to say, when there's a dispute about the contract. That's when we come into play. So that's a little bit about commercial litigation. William Roberts commenced practice in 2005, July. My fellow director is Bill Petrovsky, and he's also a UWS graduate. We started with 2 people, just him and I, and we grew to 20 people in about 2.5 years. And at the moment, I'm looking for another 5 lawyers, plus about probably another 5 I mean, we're just undertaking exponential growth. I envisage within the next 5 years I'll have 100 people. That's pretty big from a boy out west, or 2 boys out west. I guess the most important thing I need to impart upon you is that you go through law school focused and dedicated. You will be tempted to party, and that's okay, as long as it's in moderation. But you need to study, you need to focus, and you need to ensure that those around you are doing the same thing, otherwise you'll fall around the wayside. The reason why I'm focusing on your study, and the reason why it's so important, is because when everyone in my law firm has, at the very least, a credit distinction average. So when I get 200 applications for 2 positions, the first thing we do, or I tell my practice manager to do, is ask for transcripts, go through the transcripts. Anyone with less than a credit average, you cut them. So going through law school saying, I'll just pass, that's not good enough. Certainly not at William Roberts Lawyers. So you need to focus, and yes, your marks do count. In terms of law schools, this is interesting. We, obviously enough, don't discriminate between law schools. We've got, in fact, I've probably got at least one person from every law school in the state. But a majority of our lawyers come from UWS. Now, and in fact, it's important to say, the better performers at my office generally come from UWS. And the other university that's doing well is Tasmania. We've got 2 Tasmanian lawyers, and they're fantastic. But UWS, and why UWS? And I have pondered, and I've discussed it with a number of my colleagues, but I think it's the practical experience that you get at this university. The mooting is just second to none. They don't get it at other universities. So basically, overall in my office, the day you're admitted, the day after you're in court running your own trial. Of course, I'll give you a simple one, but nothing too complicated. But you're up there on your feet in the small claims division of the one court. Fair enough, the rules of evidence don't apply. It's just submissions. There's no cross-examination. It's all on paper. But you're there doing your own trial. Questions?